Hi everyone. It's been so long since I've done a video, and I just feel like doing one today. I don't know what is wrong with people today. If you're gonna take the indoctrinations and all the stuff that's being said and spew it, you should be able to back it up with some actual, like, extra info, not just what you've been brainwashed with. This guy, I forget his name, and I was just hearing it. He's able to have this discussion, and it's like this woman here, she's just dumb. Oh my god, just she can't. She's spewing like words that have been scripted out, and that's the problem. You can't just use a script when you're having a debate like this. You've got to be able to go with the flow and stuff. And this dumb bitch can't do it. She can't do it. So here we go. And this is from the channel. I can't believe I didn't even look. It sounded like LFR JoJo. I love LFR JoJo. I love the LFR family. The guy's name is Vern. It's JoJo's father. These channels are very informative. Okay, here we go with this.
My baby right now is 9 months old. He's still developing. He can't speak yet. Right. He's crawling. So why does he have less moral worth at 9 months? We're all still developing here, by the way. You know that men's brains don't stop developing till they're 35?
Right.
So should we just be able to say, well, sorry, you're 21. I can get rid of you.
It's more so if I can't give that child the life it deserves, why am I bringing it to...
I hate that discussion. I hate that perspective.
Okay, JoJo, now for what this dummy just said, okay, I am pro-choice all the way. Let's get that out of the way. If you've seen my videos on my previous channels, my Rumbles, I am pro-choice all the way. And a lot of people think being pro-choice means just for abortion. So that's one thing we've got to straighten out. Pro-choice means you have choices. And I am glad women, couples, we all have choices. But what choices did you make to get you to the point of, oh my God, I'm pregnant. There's no way I can take care of a baby. I can't afford a baby. Can you afford a condom? And if you say, well, condoms aren't always effective, you know what is effective? Abstinence. And I don't want to hear, well, that's unreasonable. But it's not unreasonable to kill a child that wasn't wanted, because that's what abortion is. I remember back in the 90s hearing babies have a nervous system within the first week of conception. You have a nervous system, you can feel pain. Go look at the abortion videos that are online. It's like a vacuum tube they stick up the woman and suck out whatever comes out, and they have to determine whether or not that's a child, that's a baby, that's a fetus, clump of cells that will turn into a fetus. The doctor performing the abortion has to figure that out. There was a case here in New York City once. I believe Brooklyn, but I could be wrong. A woman decided she could not have her child. She went to a doctor, got what she thought was an abortion. So many months later, she had a little girl missing an arm. Missing an arm. What was she supposed to do after that? She made poor choices that got her pregnant in the first place. There was nothing saying anything about she was raped. There was nothing said like that. The conception of the child, I didn't hear anything about. What I did hear, and it was on the news, the doctor performed an abortion, and it turns out it only ripped an arm off the baby. That baby went through so much pain. Now, I'm not saying the mother did it, and did not go through pain, but it was the mother's choices that led her up to that point. The child had nothing to do with it. And women want to spew out, my body, my choice. What about the choices before you get to that point? Oh, well, when you're in the heat of the moment, why did you put yourself in a position to get into the heat of the moment? Knowing full well what contraceptives you're already on. Are you on the pill? Is it an IUD? Did you have your tubes tied? Whatever it is. As women, we should have condoms. Now, I don't know if a lot of women do or not, but that's a choice. Birth control pills, that's a choice. And saying no, contraception should only fall on the guy? Well, let me answer this. Is the guy the only one about to have sex? Oh, well, guys seduce us. Yes, so what? We seduce men. And then they're like, well, what about cases of rape and incest? That's different. Majority of abortions are used as a form of contraception. Then you hear them say, well, what about in the case of the mother's life? I think, and I could be wrong, but I think by the time you get to that point, it's possible for the baby to be born by C-section. Which would still be taking the baby out of the woman's body, just not killing it. And a lot of women don't believe there are late term abortions just as abortions. Well, that's not true. And late term abortions, with some of the laws that are still followed, whether they've been removed or I don't know the proper wording, but whether those laws have been taken away or not, they are still being performed. And a baby could be out of you 5 minutes crying, breathing, and you decide you want an abortion. You've made that choice, but now the doctor's got to choose whether to let nature take its course, which means just let the baby die from natural causes, which is starvation, dehydration, and all that other stuff, or they slit its throat or do something to kill the baby. But the choices you made, even before the dick went up your twat, which you allowed in most cases, not all, but you got knocked up from the choices you made. Oh, the guy has nothing to do with it? That's right. Your body, your fucking choice. You chose to have sex. Oh, it doesn't work that way? Well, then there's the problem. You can't just put everything on the guy because it's your body, your choice, and you made the choice to have sex. Oh, well, I didn't make the choice to get pregnant. What did you do to make sure you didn't get pregnant? It's your body. You have to take responsibility for that. You have to make sure you're okay and healthy. Now, if you're willing to just say, oh, I'll get rid of the baby, I'll have an abortion, you weren't taking care of yourself in the first place, that you had to have that done. Okay, back to the video.
Mostly here, such a political and dividing issue in specifically the last few years.
Well, the repeal of Roe versus Wade is 60 years.
Yes.
That you're allowed that.
And look, she shook her head yes. She shook
Subtle dehumanization movement over the last 60 years.
Agreeing with that. So you're agreeing with that you understand that there's no value to a human life? That you can just get it aborted? The babies have no rights, but yet they want to look for a payout if somebody does something to make them lose the baby, because that wasn't their choice and they should be compensated. I saw a video yesterday where a dumb bitch was talking, and the man she was with kept telling her, why do you have to keep taking child support from your child's father? I'm supporting us all. Leave him out of it. It's a pain. I'll just take care of your kid. Not a problem. The woman said, well, don't I deserve something? What are you talking about? The guy you're with is taking care of everything, including kids that are not yours. You want the child support money for yourself, for your wigs, for your weaves, for your makeup that makes you look 10 times lighter than what you are, that can literally change the shape of your face, the perception of the look of your face, and put wigs and weaves on your head that you can hide shit in. And it's like playing dress up. Oh, what about the women who are bald and have alopecia? Different story, but that's not all women. And this isn't a dig at black women, which a lot of people are going to wind up saying it is. No, there are white women who are now doing that too. Well, there's nothing wrong with looking cute, but I just don't want to go through all the work of fixing my hair and doing this and doing that. So they will get clip-ons, they will do weaves themselves. Well, I don't mean do it themselves. They'll go to a beauty parlor or something. Or they'll put wigs on their own. And there are consequences to that as well. The choices you make can screw up your body, but you want to blame everyone else for it when you made the choice. Now, back to this. She said, yes, dehumanization. Well, at what point does she think a baby is a human? Is a life? Within 1 week, it has a nervous system. We even say plants are living creatures because they have a nervous system. You pick a flower, you have just brutally hurt that plant. And it's got to sit there and suffer and die because you wanted something pretty in your house. It's the same thing. You've made a choice. And you feel like your body is so important. Take better care of it. Don't get pregnant until you're actually ready for it. Accidents do happen, which you will hear her say in this video. But an accident happens, I believe, okay, accident happened, you can't afford the child, okay. You don't want to put it in the system because it might suffer horrifically for 18 years or longer. Well, after you've done this, you make sure another accident doesn't happen. Because I believe if a second accident happens and you have an abortion, you have proven more than once you're too irresponsible to have that responsibility. Rip the bitch's insides out. She can't have kids. Oh, that's too harsh? Because of her body, the recovery time, all this other stuff. Well, what about the baby? Women even make the choice to have spite abortions, where they want to get back at the guy for cheating on them, for dumping them, for whatever. They will abort the baby and rub it in the guy's face. Look what I did. It happens. I don't care if it happens once. One time is too many for that. Now, while I do believe abortion should be a choice, because I've heard the horror stories about what's called back alley abortions, it is better to have it done by a doctor, by a professional, where you can get help for any complications after it. But again, you wouldn't be going through that if you made better choices in the first place.
That makes it acceptable to crush human beings smaller than you if you so choose.
Okay. It's mostly like I believe that the initiative of those beliefs have become more hateful towards women. And I'm just kind of wondering, like, what is the incentive with all of these points? Like, why should we not have the option to choose?
Well, honestly, bitch, you had the option to choose things before you got to that point. And you obviously made poor decisions because you are at that point in the position you're having a kid you can't afford. With a guy, you probably only wanted to, like, in a sense, because nowadays that's perfectly okay for the most part to hump and dump. Oh, I'm a woman. I'm a sexual being. You can't tell me what to do. Well, you're making a choice. If you're inebriated inebriated by alcohol, you have to take some responsibility for that, men and women, because you made the choice to drink and it affects your body, your choice. Look what led you up to this. So you've proven yourself to be so irresponsible. You want the right to just keep having abortion after abortion after abortion after abortion. The thing about insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. No, it's the same result. You made poor choices that got you into the position you got in. Oh, what about the guy? You chose the guy, bitch. Well, he wasn't shit, and I knew that from the get go. Then why'd you fuck him? Even if you made the choice to have protection, birth control pills are not 100%. I remember hearing about these Norform implants when they first came out. Some women, they were getting lost in their arm. Nobody knew where it was. Um, there are so many forms of birth control out there for women. When the simplest one for both men and women, condom. I was married, I have a child, I understand the heat of the moment stuff and whatever. But if you're of the mindset of even, wow, I could get raped, try to protect yourself as much as you can. If you don't want to be on birth control pills because you heard they give cancer or whatever, okay. Keep condoms on you at all times, like guys have to do. Oh, what about cases of rape and incest? Look, I've heard stories where women have begged their rapists to put a condom on. Some instances, yes, the rapists do it. But that's not all the time. You don't want to have your tubes tied, have any form of birth control, all this other stuff, then you need to, like, in a sense, try other things to try to protect yourself. And there are millions of choices out there. Make some different choices than what you're making to get yourself multiple pregnancies. Or change your behavior. And yes, it goes on to the woman. I don't want to hear this shit. Well, what about the guy? Your body, your choice. Most abortions are not from rape and incest. It's just a fact. You know, I saw a video a few years ago where a girl was in a clinic with her best friend. She was on camera. I don't remember if it was a YouTube video or a Facebook video, but she said, "Yes, y'all, I'm in here getting an abortion. I ain't having nothing ruin my summer body. Summer's about to come. Yes, child." You're getting an abortion for that reason? Just because you have the choice and the right to do so doesn't mean you should do it. But women want to say, my body, my choice, and they don't want to take responsibility. There is a responsibility that comes with being an adult and having sex. There just is. And if you make the choices you make and get knocked up, have a plan B and don't just leave it on the father. The father is not inside your body. I mean, he was in order to get you pregnant. But it's not like that. His body is separate. Your body now has to go through whatever it is you have to go through because you made choices you had no business making, apparently. And it's the truth. My body, my choice, that means you take responsibility for the choices you make. What about the guy? Fuck the guy. You make choices for your body. Now, yes, I'm not saying the guy doesn't bear some responsibility, but if you allow sex without a condom, if you allow sex with your body at all, you've allowed it. At that point, you take more responsibility than the guy. Now, if the guy rapes you, that's different. That is not your choice. But majority of abortions are just a form of birth control. And I don't understand why a woman would want to put herself through a pregnancy and through an abortion when a condom or abstinence would prevent that.
Do I or do you have the choose?
Every time I hear the phrase option to choose, it always I always somehow end up doing this topic. But that phrase always confuses me because what do you mean by option to choose? You're saying that when I hear option to choose, I think of having a family, going to college. You have the option to choose if you want to do that. I don't think of getting an abortion. Somebody getting an abortion. That's like an extreme option. So what
Yes,
exactly are you choosing? Are you choosing whether or not to have a kid? If that's the case, then there are a lot of things that you can do prior to abortion when it comes to having a kid.
I so love this kid, and he's not brainwashed. LFR JoJo goes sub up to him, sub up to his father Vern at the LFR family. They are fantastic.
But that's just my opinion. Let's continue.
The agency or the choice to murder?
Well, yes, there's consequences, but I do have
But
the option.
under the law.
No,
Okay,
technically.
so therefore, that's our position.
Well, not necessarily. It's more so like in the aspects of when the mother's life is in danger, and those special circumstances. Like, why can we not have those options in those situations either? Because no one is inherently going out saying, "I just want to kill babies." That's not.
Who said in the case of a life of the mother or the baby, there isn't that choice? That choice has been given so many times over the decades. So it's not a question of that. If it comes between the life of the mother or the life of the child, the mother and the father, if the father is involved, because once the father, I say, decides not to be involved, fuck you. But that's a very hard decision to make, and there are a lot of women who will say, save the baby, and they mean it. They mean it. So again, you've made a choice for your body. If you stand on that, save the baby, not beast, not me, stand on all the other choices you make. What's a new phrase I've been hearing over the past couple of years? Stand 10 toes down. You've made your choice. Now you have to live with the consequences, whether it's being called a hua, a child murderer, or what. You take on that responsibility as well. Whether or not people should do it, the choices you made before you got to this point were all yours. You made the choices. And whether or not it's right for people to go off on you or not, you can't control other people. They're going to do what they want to do. You did what you wanted to do. You weren't controlled. Your body is your responsibility, completely and totally your responsibility. A child in the womb cannot make choices for itself. It just can't. So you're making the decision to take a life to make your life better. And for the most part, it's not so you'll be healthy. Your life over the child's life. It's just like she's talking about, well, if I can't afford it, good, you took a stand on that. Now suffer the repercussions.
Not anyone's point here.
Well, yeah,
It's more so the point
you should
of
look at a Planned Parenthood ad. I mean, that's basically
Yep.
what they do. But so less than half of 1% of all abortions have to do with rape, incest, or life of the mother. 99.5% of all abortions have to do with just a form of birth control. It's a last catch option because
And look at this dummy bitch right here. She's another nasty fucking bitch. No, 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 no. Your body, your choice, right? If you're going to debate these issues, don't just sit there and say, well, what about this? Find out. If majority of abortions are just for birth control, and you still believe my body, my choice, it's a great thing, get an abortion, ha, jumping through a field of wildflowers, then you have to suffer the consequences of that shit. Aborting a child, a fetus, whatever you want to call it, that is not a badge of honor, even though it's being turned into one. I guarantee you there are some dumb bitches getting pregnant on purpose just to fight to get an abortion. I guarantee you. Even if it's one too many. Because especially today, people are like, ooh, that looks dangerous. I want to touch it. You know.
because whatever type of birth control you were using didn't work.
would you want someone who is not necessarily stable or ready to bring a child into this world? And
No, but you knew that before you got yourself into the position to get pregnant. That may not have been what you set out to do, but you put yourself in that position. Oh, if I wasn't drinking, I wouldn't have consented, but you made the choice to drink, knowing one of the consequences could be you could have unprotected sex with someone and bare minimum STD. If you are so drunk you cannot control your body and the things you do with your body, how the fuck can you put that on somebody else? Oh, oh, don't do it. Oh, I'm so horny. I'm so this. Dancing like an asshole or whatever because you're drunk. Yeah, you're enjoying yourself. But you made the choice to get that bad. And I'm not saying nobody slips women Mickeys or whatever, date rape, drugs or whatever. Yeah. But you still make the choice to drink that stuff. You made the choice to go out with someone and drink, or go out on your own and drink. Again, you did that. If we want to stand here as women and say, my body, my choice, take responsibility for that as well. I'm not saying if you get raped, I'm not saying if you get incest. There's a somebody rapes you incestually in the family. I'm not saying that. But you have to take responsibility for the decisions you make. And too many decisions have been taken out of women's hands, and now they want them back. And it's like, well, why were those decision making things taken from you in the first place? Why was Roe v. Wade overturned? Oh, misogynistic men. Donald Trump, Orange Man bad. No, it's because irresponsible bitches were using it as a form of birth control, which I still don't understand that. I've had miscarriages. The pain, just the physical pain, and then the emotional shit, you're thinking it's a baby, whatever your mindset is. Why would any woman choose to put themselves through that pain rather than, oh, the pill makes me nauseous sometimes? You don't want to be nauseous? You don't want to have a baby? Have your tubes tied. Oh, I don't want to have an operation that's unnecessary. It's necessary because you refuse to remain celibate. And again, rape and incest are not by your choice. But the majority of abortions, it was from consensual sex, from making a choice to have sex. The only way you cannot get pregnant is abstinence. Well, that's unrealistic. Fuck you. That's you not taking responsibility for your own actions and your own choices. It's just it. That
Provide that child the life it deserves, would you want them to still bring that child into this
Without
world?
a doubt, every life has a moral obligation to be able to live. So I just want to play this out. So you say it's all about the life, the choice of the mother. At what point does the human being in utero become a human being in your mind? Because it must be not human than human. When does it cross that threshold?
I would say more so in the second to third trimester.
Got it. So just be respectful, guys. But why then? I mean, what happens in the second and third trimester specifically that all of a sudden human being,
Well, it goes from a clump of cells in the first trimester to the heart being developed in the brain and the nervous system.
So when does the heart begin?
I believe in the second trimester.
Yeah, 6 weeks. That's the first trimester, right?
You see, she doesn't have all the information. You want to say, I'm responsible, my body, I'm an adult, I've had sex, How come she don't know this? You can look up the latest fashion trends and the latest protest trends. You can look this up too. Well, if I'm saying it's just a clump of cells, we're all just a clump of cells. If you get down to the basic chemical composition of a body, you know? What makes us animated? What makes us breathe? What makes our heart beat? What makes us feel pain? What makes us feel pleasure? Since the 90s, I've known a baby has a nervous system within the first week of conception. When you have a nervous system, you can feel pain. And it's been said if you can feel pain, you're a human being. Well, there are human beings out there because of whatever is going on with them medically, honestly, cannot feel pain. But we still try to help them. But the baby's an inconvenience to your lifestyle. Well, your lifestyle got you knocked up in the first place. And again, I'm not talking about rape and incest. That's all people do is bring up those two things. And it's very annoying because those are not the only ways a woman can get pregnant.
Right. So a heartbeat is detectable between 6 to 8 weeks. That's 2 months. The second trimester does not start till 18 weeks. Brain waves are detectable at 10 weeks. So tell me why second and third trimester.
Because that's when the baby is more so developed, is what I'm saying. Like,
in other words, it has to look like a baby in order to be a baby. Well, let's say you wanted the baby, you don't want an abortion, and the guy who knocked you up kicks you in the stomach and continues to do it until he's satisfied the baby's gone. He didn't kill you, but because you want the baby, it was taken away from you by him, you want to get him now? Really? Guys don't have a choice other than abstinence, condoms, vasectomy, or castration. So that's 4. What have women had? The sponge, male condoms, female condoms, IUD, Norform implants, abstinence, that's 6 right there. Abortion was made a choice. And I don't know if I said it, abstinence. So men have 4 options. Women literally have at least double that. But they really only want to run to abortion. They want the right to rip human cells that can feel pain apart if they so choose to do that. And then you got to figure the pain you're going to go through. And unless you're some cold, unfeeling lump of flesh, there's got to be a lot of emotional shit for getting an abortion as well. If you can get it like it's nothing, then what kind of human being are you?
like when in that argument you had I'm not sure when you were shown the pictures of the fetus of a dolphin fetus and a human's fetus, you weren't able to tell the difference.
But that doesn't mean it was not a human being, though.
But that's what I'm saying. It's not developed. It's the same kind of concept. Like if it comes.
Charlie Kirk poses a
No,
great
it's not.
question, and that's the same question that I ask when it comes to if there should be abortion or not abortion, and if you remove religion from it, because I'm a Christian, so that's to say my stance. But if you remove religion from it, and let's talk about a nationwide, you're the judge, you're determining on if there's abortion or if there's not abortion. The question that you should ask is, when does human life start? I think that's
Exactly. And it seems like there are 150 billion different choices for when life begins. And those 150 billion choices are individual to the person or persons at hand. No. Science, remember, follow the science. You have a nervous system, you can feel pain, you're alive at that point. You're alive. Oh, another thing, we have the 48-hour pill. So now that's like 9 choices compared to the guy's 4. Why is abortion the only thing we're fighting for? I mean, I'm not fighting for it. Do I think it's needed? Yeah, because dumb bitches will get knocked up and we'll have those back alley abortions again. But just because it's an option doesn't mean you have to act recklessly and then, oh, I have no choice, I have to do that. No, and again, I'm not talking about rape and incest. Those are two instances that, yeah, if it happens once, it's too many. I agree. But it's not as many as the oops abortions, the oopsies. It used to be called an oops baby. Oh, the men should have no responsibility. Your body, your choice. You have responsibility over your own body. Period. Your body, your choice, your responsibility.
A fair question. When exactly does human life start? Once we just answer that question, this will be a much easier discussion. But I feel as though that's the fundamental misunderstanding, or that's the fundamental difference between people who do support abortion and people who don't support abortion. People who do support abortion do not tell themselves that life starts at conception. They do not tell themselves that. They
Yep.
tell themselves, like, for example, she said that you're a human in the third trimester. That's according to Charlie Kirk. She said second trimester, I think.
She said second to third trimester. I have never heard of a baby in the first trimester that actually came out of the woman's body and was alive. I've never heard that. In rare instances, the second trimester that's really close to the third, it's possible. It's possible for the baby to live. But we got to the point we allowed late term abortions. We have women who stick their kids in ovens and cook them just to get back at the father. Now, I'm not saying it happens a gazillion times a day. No, but again, one time is too many. I remember there was one thing, some bitch, she was having problems with the father because the father didn't want to be with her. And she was so upset, she made a mistake and put the baby in the oven instead of in the crib. Well, you have to forgive her. Fuck you. No, I don't. She picked up the baby. That was a choice. She walked into the kitchen while still holding the baby. That was a choice of hers. She bent down to open the oven. That was a choice. She put the baby in the oven. That was a choice. She turned the oven on. That was a choice. And she adjusted the dial. That was a choice. And then she went off and sulked somewhere. She was there the whole time the baby was cooking. She could smell the baby cooking. She could hear the baby screaming in agony. But no, you have to forgive the mother for doing that. Because, well, you know how guys are, hump them and dump them. Yeah, but you were a part of that. You made a choice to get humped. No, you did not make the choice to get dumped, but that's a choice we all have. We can dump the people we're with, we can stay with them, and vice versa. And I don't understand, while it's mostly women, and it is mostly women, who are not held accountable for the choices they make because they're women. Well, then that means women are completely and utterly dumb. But yet we want to say, no, we're smarter than men. If we were smarter than men, we wouldn't get into the trouble we got into in the first place. We just wouldn't have. And again, I'm not saying guys don't have a responsibility as well. If a girl offers you sex without a condom, fuck you. And if an accident happens, you do have some sort of responsibility. And if you decide to give that up, sign your rights away. Don't sign the birth certificate. That's why DNA tests at the time of birth are so important. And women are like, no, the guy should just take care of it. Again, women are making stupid decisions like that. Come on, ladies, take responsibility for your actions and learn better from the mistakes you've made. Not, oh, well, I can just have an abortion. Considering late term abortion, and they're saying it's in theory, but it does happen. A 5-year-old child in kindergarten, a mother should be able, since it came out of her body, to go and slit the kid's throat. No, that's too extreme. This is an extreme. Yes, I do believe abortions are necessary, but not all the time and not every case. And if you do have to get one, because it's your body, your choice, your responsibility to take care of your body, you take the necessary precautions that that doesn't happen again. And don't use the crutch like I've talked in the past and I will talk in the future about the race crutch. This, well, I'm a woman crutch doesn't fly either.
Whatever. That started at the 18th week. But Charlie Kirk, his fundamental standing of abortion is that life starts when you find out you're pregnant, practically. So, as a nation, once you answer that question, when does life start? That will probably determine whether or not abortion, remains legal or illegal. And abortion is already legal in majority of states. But anyways, let's continue.
Comes down.
Oh, and that's another thing. Because they're legal in only some states, well, why should I have to go to another state? Why should you have to spread your legs open and have sex when you're not married to the guy? Well, that's an inconvenience to me. Well, apparently the baby's an inconvenience to you too. That's all it is a simple little inconvenience. I used to say, have a baby, bitch, take care of it, and then find out if abortion is really, oh, whoop de doo, I'm going to have an abortion. Or is it, wow, I may have to get an abortion. And then I got to change whatever I was doing in order to get knocked up that next time anyway. But no, there is nothing like that anymore. Now, second and third trimester. Okay. They're saying something, I think they just said a heartbeat can be detected at 18 weeks. I happen to think it's sooner than that, but put an 18-week-old baby in front of you. If you can honestly say, well, an abortion would make my life better at that point, which there are women who kind of do that. I mean, why do we have the thing of you can leave a baby or a child at an emergency room, a police station, a fire department to give women another choice? And if women do it, oh, she was overrun, overwhelmed, over this, over that. A guy does it, oh, he just wants to fuck around. We do give women too much credit, too much leadway. I mean, this bitch can't even put her fucking phone down to have this discussion. And she's got it facing her like, oh, I might get an important text about going out tonight and drinking and partying. No, put your phone the fuck away and have this discussion if that's what you want to do. I don't see him sitting there with a phone in his hand. It's just stupid. When, and it's true, when does a life become a life? Late term abortions, third trimester, that's a baby. You can look at it and see it's a baby, which is one of the arguments she's trying to make. If you can't look at it and see a baby, it's not a baby. How about the times people see garbage bags moving, but they don't hear anything? And they might think it's a rat. You put your baby in the garbage? Well, apparently, that's another choice we let women get away with too. And then if something happens to the baby, they're not responsible because, oh, they were overwhelmed or they were teenagers or whatever excuse they come up with. Teenagers have had babies in the prom bathrooms, put the baby in the trash like this other bitch, I think her name is Alexis something. Come on, even her pictures, you could tell she was pregnant. The baby was alive and breathing. They're trying to blame it on the hospital for giving her drugs knowing she was pregnant, but then didn't tell her. She knew. She talked to her friends. Even after it came out and she said it wasn't making any noise. Why didn't you go get help? Oh, because she was embarrassed. So kill a baby, which she did because there was air in the lungs. Stuff it in a garbage can, cover it up with shit, and then walk back to your fucking little emergency room and just climb back into bed? After what just happened, you found out, okay, you didn't know you were pregnant, but when the baby came out, you didn't get help? You didn't start screaming for help? She was obviously able to even cut the umbilical cord by herself. She made all those decisions, all those choices, but she couldn't make the choice or the decision to go and get help. And now she is suing the hospital for negligence. What about her negligence? What about what she did? Well, I didn't know I was pregnant once the baby came out. You knew. You knew.
To that person's life and their well-being, Why
Okay,
should
no,
they
but
not
we're
choose
talking about two different
themselves?
things. So life of the mother is extremely rare.
It's not that rare though.
How many times do you think that there are abortions for the life of the mother out of a 1.5 million abortions every year? How much do you think?
I'm not sure with the number off the top of
Less
my
than
head.
500
It's-
out of 1.5 million. And by the way, a vast majority of those are babies that could have been delivered by cesarean section. Do you know what a cesarean section
Yes.
is? Okay. So understand that if a baby's at 28 weeks and they say it's life of the mother, why would you terminate the baby when you could deliver it by C-section?
Well, if you can deliver it by
No, but they're not even
C-section,
given that option. Instead, they go to an abortionist.
so
and
then that's essentially an issue in that we should address within these politics, because no one
I
is
agree.
saying to kill
Fuck politics. It's your body, your choice, remember?
kids. No one is
Well,
saying
hold
go
on.
kill babies.
But let's.
And that's like hypocritical or something. If the politics and laws that are set up you agree with, fantastic. You don't, there's a problem. And women want laws and rules and everything else to turn on a dime. And men are getting that way now too, or have been for a little while, compared to the existence of humanity. But he just said out of over 1 million abortions. So what were the other? Okay, so let's say out of 1 million abortions, 500 were because of the life of the mother. And majority of those didn't have to happen. The baby could have been born by cesarean section, and then you have other choices to make. Put it up for adoption, keep it. Again, women have all these choices, and because it's her body, add that on to adoption. Men would have to go to court to fight for rights for their child. There are times you see it all over the place. Well, the father wasn't there for me, but this new guy was, so I put him on the birth certificate. Again, you made a choice, you did a fraud, and what happens to you? I swear to God, I'm a woman, but we women make some of the most ridiculous choices and then go, wah, 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 wah. And men give in just to shut them the fuck up. It's unbelievable. And yes, I'm a woman. I don't want to hear nothing about cisgendered women or whatever. No, no, no. Because if you got to act like a woman, you ain't a woman. Acting like a lady is different than acting like a biological woman. If you have to act like something, it's something you're not. And I don't give a fuck about all the LGBTQ community shit. Because there's a guy on here named Armando Black. One of the women he works with got up on a panel, one of his panels, saying, pretty soon there's going to be more letters added to the LGBTQ community. And it's going to be for people who have a preference for children, a preference for pedophilia. There are already seminars going around. Oh, there's nothing wrong with gently loving a child. You're gentle with a woman, you're gentle with a man. There's nothing wrong with being gentle with a child and loving that child and showing them special love. Yes, there is. They're a child. So there are people abdicating or advocating for having sex with little kids. The first news story I ever heard of, my mom and my aunt, her sister, were in the kitchen talking and they sent me out of the room, but they weren't even trying to whisper. And women in general, I think for the most part, especially nowadays, have big mouths, elevated voices. And in Brooklyn back then, yeah, it was way more. Okay. But the story was about a guy who raped a 3-month-old little girl. The act itself killed the baby by ripping the insides apart. Now, I want to say this. That guy should not be held accountable for his choices that he made to do that to a child when a woman can do basically the same thing. It's not sex, but the act of an abortion, most abortions, is sucking the baby out and that tears them apart. So why should that guy be held responsible for that one act? And there are women who have had multiple abortions and it's fine. Now, let me say this for the stupid people. That guy should be dead for what he did. But when a woman has an abortion, it's fine. It's fine. No, it is not fine. That's why we need to make better choices so it doesn't happen. Even if we're pregnant, we want to keep the baby. We decide to go bungee jumping. What the fuck are those notices on carnival rides for? If you're pregnant, don't go on this ride. Because even though it's exciting, it's fun. That kind of excitement can cause stress, and stress can kill the baby. The dopey bitches will want to sue the carnival for the ride or wherever they go for bungee jumping. They will want to sue them no matter what contract they've signed. They will want to sue them in order to get a payday for the death of their child. You don't think women who go and get actual abortions would want to do that too? Look at that one bitch I was saying I heard yesterday. Well, why shouldn't I get something out of it? For what? Having the guy's baby? You're taking care of your baby's taken care of by the new guy you're with. He doesn't want you taking child support from the other guy. And for you, it's like, why not keep my lifestyle up? Your lifestyle got you the kid in the first place. So babies are nothing but a paycheck to most women. And I don't want to hear no, 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 no. Yes, and it's getting worse the more we go on.
First of all, late-term abortion is very common and very frequent.
It's not that common though. That's
Again, how many times do you think it happens a year?
Late-term abortions?
Yeah.
I don't think it happens.
Tens of thousands.
Exactly. You don't know. So you can't have this argument unless you have the facts to back it up with. Your opinion, your feelings, your this, your that. Yeah. That's like love. You fall in love with someone, but that someone doesn't fall in love with you. We get so pissed off when men stalk women. But when women stalk men, we try to find excuses for it. Well, he led her on. He this, he that. Again, no responsibility on the woman's part. You can't have this kind of debate unless you have something to back it up with. And not just, well, I don't know. I don't think there's that much. No, he just said how many there are. And in a lot of those cases, the baby could still be born. But the mother chooses, no, just get rid of it. How do you choose to just get rid of it? And that's what happens with most abortions nowadays. Oh, well, it's just a clump of cells. Oh, well, you were a clump of cells at one time, and your mother made the choice to have you. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. And then some bitches get to the point they want to sue their parents for having them in the first place because they had no choice in that. They want to give choices to babies. Can I please change your diaper? Kids have died from neglect from not having their diaper changed. What if you're asking a kid who's too young to actually understand, get the dirty diaper off, like a 2-month-old? You're going to leave it in the diaper to get sores, to get infections? No, you're going to change it because you don't want the smell of it. You don't want this. You don't want that. To me, it just seems like nowadays women today are the most unfeeling, uncaring creatures. They're putting on an act like the transgenders do. You have to try to act to be what you want to be, but that's not what you are. And again, this is all my opinions, and I am entitled to them.
The times a year.
You can't say that
Tens
when
of
it
thousands
comes
of
to the
times.
life of a mother.
But I am curious though, just more as you said about well-being.
Mhm.
Why should any person be able to terminate another human being if you feel as if your well-being will be jeopardized? Why should I be able to terminate someone in this audience if they're going to get in my well-being way? By
No,
what moral
that's
but
completely-
apply a universal moral standard to the abortion argument and help me understand it.
If I were to get pregnant right now, I would not be able to give birth to that child and give it the life it deserves because
How did you get pregnant?
accidents still happen, guys. Like
Okay,
you can
hold on.
be on birth.
Accidents still happen, guys. You see a giant crack in the sidewalk, you can make the choice to avoid it. You can make the choice to avoid it. Walking on cellar doors, you make a choice to do that. Oh no, well, I was looking at my phone and I didn't see. You made a choice to look at your phone while you were walking. We gave more responsibility and more accountability to kids walking around with headphones on their heads, listening to music, not paying attention when they would go to cross the street and getting hit by a car. We gave more accountability and responsibility to those kids than we do women with abortions. With what? Hey, accidents happen. That's a life. Hey, I decided to drink and drive. You took a life. No, you should get off because you made the choices to do that. Well, I was drunk. I didn't make the right decision. You shouldn't have made the decision to get drunk. Oh, well, I didn't know my limit. Then you shouldn't drink at all. Those are choices you make to keep you safe. But you kill somebody else. Oh, it was an accident. Well, what if you're in an accident because of somebody else's negligence? You get to sue them. Unborn babies do not have a way to go back at someone for hurting them. Children don't have a way for doing that. But mostly women do. I'm seeing this more and more and more, and I'm just like, it's all insane. And you're going by your beliefs. But when you're in a debate like this, yeah, you can have your beliefs and you can put them out there. But you also have to have facts to back them up. I believe there is something out there we're calling Bigfoot. Now, whether it's a Gigantopithecus, whether it's someone with people with genetic abnormalities, whether it's bears because they're just so far away, or whether it's, yeah, there are apes still living and they're not going near humans or whatever. Maybe they're an ape human hybrid. Whatever it is, people are seeing something. But for everything I just said, I'd be called stupid. Well, I have facts and evidence to back up the things I'm saying. This bitch does not. And you need the facts in order to do something like this. It's not just, wah, 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 I'm a woman. I should get my way. It's my way. You didn't do it the way I wanted you to, even though something was getting done. No, the way I wanted you to do it. And women get away with that shit. It's unfucking believable.
Birth control.
Hold
You
on.
can still.
This is an important point, guys. But wait a second. But then shouldn't you take responsibility for your
Absolutely.
orgasms?
No.
So let me be
An orgasm is an involuntary reaction to what's going on. You may want it to happen, but internally you cannot make that happen. There are people who are dysfunctional in that way. No matter what's done, they can't have an orgasm. But look at her face. She has obviously had orgasms before and enjoyed sex. She made the choice to have sex. A baby doesn't have the choice whether it lives or dies. Even when it's a child, their lives can be manipulated by so many people, and there's no accountability. Susan Smith, yeah, she's the bitch who aborted her babies when they were like 2 and 3 years old by putting them in their car seats, strapping them in, and letting her car just roll into the ocean. She watched them drown. Why? Because the guy she was with was tired of being with her and honestly did not want to be with a woman who had kids. He just wanted to break up with her. And she thought, well, if I got rid of the kids, I could have him. Everybody went on what she said. It was a black guy. Everybody's all upset with her for that. Well, this is the same thing with most abortion cases. The woman does fucked up shit. She gets into a situation she can't handle by herself. She wants the guy to help her handle it. The guy says no. She gets an abortion and blames him for it. And she can also blame a different guy for it, because if she really don't like the guy she fucked around the same time, okay, she can put the blame on shit for him instead of the guy she really likes, who was actually the father of the child. Women make decisions like that all the time, like I said before. Putting a different guy's name on the birth certificate because they're there helping you, taking care of you. They should have that honor, that privilege. But that fucks up the child in the long run. It fucks up the guy who's the biological father. And it fucks up the guy who's taking care of the kids because the woman's such a cunt and she did this shit. But you blame the man, not the woman. This is a preventable medical procedure. And just for this cunt's face, even this cunt, right? Even this cunt, the guy's a cunt too, about involuntary orgasms. Control your orgasms. Some people claim they can control them. With outside help, without outside help. You can put all this shit on other people, but you can't put it on the problem at hand, which is the bitch who wanted sex and didn't take enough precautions. And when something happened and she goes and takes care of it by way of an abortion, you don't have to take responsibility for yourself and say, I will not let this happen again. And right now would be where somebody would say, well, what about cases of rape, incest, and the mother's life is in danger? The majority of abortions are not from those instances. Not that they don't exist, not that they're not widespread, they are. But the majority is just oopsie. Oopsie. If you have a piece of carpeting in your house you keep tripping over, do something about it. Even if you live in an apartment building where that's the landlord's responsibility, you call the landlord and notify him of a problem. That's your responsibility to do. Because if you don't tell them, they may not know. You are the only one who can have an abortion, bitch. You are the main one who should be taking responsibility for that.
Be clear that you want to have all the fun, but none of the responsibility.
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yep.
I'm saying accidents still happen.
No, of course. And you know what happens when accidents involve other human beings? You don't terminate them.
There you go.
You don't get to eliminate another human being because of an accident. That's not a moral code we live by.
That's actually a fair point.
Yep.
There are millions. Well, I'm not going to say millions. There are a lot. I don't know the exact number, so I'm just using a vague term like a lot of car accidents that happen every year. But imagine somebody just hits your car. You got a brand new car. You just got the car washed. You just left Chick-fil-A. It's a good Saturday morning. It's 70 degrees outside. You riding with the sunroof back. It's a great day. And somebody hits your car. They smack your car. Smack it. Your paint scraped off. It's a dent in your right door. They hit your car 40 miles an hour, 25 miles an hour. And you get out the car and they said, oh, my bad. It was just an accident, so I won't be paying for this. You're going to be looking at them like, what you mean you got paid for this? You hit my car. You're paying.
I so love this kid. Exactly. Thank you, JoJo. Thank you so much.
For this. And it's the same instance in this situation. Just because something's an accident don't mean you not paying for it. You still gonna pay for it. And you hit my car on a Saturday after I left Chick-fil-A. But anyways, let's continue.
Correct. But why do you not care about the outcome of that human being's life?
Of course I do. No, I mean,
but you don't, because if I were to give birth to a kid right now and it's living in horrible conditions, because I'm just a college student, why do you not care? Why do you not put in funding into those establishments?
Hold on, everything that we believe in is about the betterment of that kid's life. Safer streets, for more police on the streets. Want to have better schools and school choice so that kid can read.
Exactly, but being in the mother's womb is not safe. A ton of people want safe spaces, and they want the safe spaces safe the way they want it to be safe. And then go off and scream at people because it's all so weird and they don't know what the hell is going on. You knew what was going on. And that defenseless life inside your belly has no choice. You made choices to get to that point, and you're going to make choices to get out of that point. that baby has no right to choose, even if it's a little girl, which means girls have a right to choose, women have a right to choose. That little girl in your belly has the right to choose. And why bring a baby into an unsafe environment? Okay, true. What precautions did you take to not get pregnant? Well, I'm in college, I'm this, I'm that. So you make the choice to have sex. Whether it was protected or not, protection is not always 100%. The choices you made got you into college. That's fine. You'll take responsibility for that. But the choices you made got you pregnant, and you feel abortion is a major way to take responsibility. Yeah, it is, but then you take a major way to make sure it doesn't happen again. And most women do not.
Read and learn stronger churches so that the kid can learn about a
Why does
strong
that
ethical
matter
code.
if I can't afford a house for this kid?
Well, but hold on, I'm going through the list.
How could you not afford condoms? You can get condoms in dollar stores. Now, I understand a lot of people will say, well, you can't trust them. Okay. How much did the phone in her fucking hand cost her? Is there a monthly bill? Is that an iPhone where it's very expensive and the service is expensive and all this other shit's expensive? You make the choice to pay for that shit? Pay for fucking birth control pills. Now, while I agree that should be part of insurance, I do agree with that. Just like to a point, I believe if a woman cannot afford her sanitary napkins, um, maxi pads, uh, tampons, that they should be provided by medical insurance because it is a medical thing that's happening. But that's only if you can prove you cannot afford it. You can afford $1,000 iPhone, you can afford whatever it costs for birth control pills. Let me see. Average cost of birth control pills. Okay, generic pills typically cost less than brand name pills. And I'm looking at some. Now, I don't know all the names, but I'm looking at one right now that's $18 for a 3-month supply. That's $6 a month for you to take a precaution not to get pregnant. You can't take responsibility for that, but you can take responsibility to buy uh, a car, pay for gas, pay for insurance, pay for partying. You can go to a club or a bar and at least buy yourself one drink. You can afford $6 for a birth control pill. This is called Azurette birth control. Azurette. $18 for 3 months boils down to $6 a month. You can't afford $6 a month to $6 a month, and I think you should also pay for condoms. You can't afford that little bit of money every month, and you can't afford to have fucking sex. You can't afford to go out on dates. Because an accident happens. It can happen, right?
Of all the things that can happen, curtailing inflation, purchasing power for that kid. The point being, everything that we as conservatives believe in is making it easier to have children in this country. And just because we don't want more government money spent on something, which actually makes it harder, does not mean we don't want that thing. But it's a red herring argument. We're talking about the morality of the elimination of a life, right? And so I just want to be totally understanding of clear that what species is the being when it's at 6 weeks?
To me, I believe that it's a clump of cells.
No, I understand.
It's a zygote.
No, I know, but the species.
They can't answer that. Human beings are a species. Felines are a species. Fish are a species. Giraffes, elephants, dogs, they're all different species. And she's just calling it a lump of cells. There are no species that are cells are not categorized a species until they can be identified. Now, if these lump of cells are inside of you, the species is human. She can't even comprehend this, and it looks like this dopey fuck can't comprehend this. This one gets it. This one gets it. She couldn't answer it. She couldn't answer it.
I'm sorry, what was
The
that?
species. So everything on the animal kingdom has a species type.
Right.
So we are Homo sapiens, and you could be an alligator. But so what is it? Is it
Okay, it would be a Homo sapien.
So if it's a Homo sapien, it's human. So then shouldn't it be given human rights?
Yeah.
But it hasn't. My point is, it hasn't been.
Yeah, but she's been saying, watch this one's facial expressions. It's been what? That makes no sense. And now she's like, yeah, bitch, fuck you.
Been developed. It's still just a clump of cells.
Right, but
at the end of the day.
But hold on, my baby right now is 9 months old. He's still developing. He can't speak yet.
Right.
He's crawling. So why does he have less moral worth at 9 months? We're all still developing here, by the way. You know that men's.
Yep, we are all a clump of cells that grow and evolve every day. You get a cut. Cells rejuvenate in order to heal you. So cells are important, right? Apparently not.
Brains don't stop developing till they're 35.
Right.
So should we just be able to say, well, sorry, you're 21, I couldn't get rid of you?
It's more so, if I can't give that child the life it deserves, why am I bringing it to?
Got it. No, I don't.
He was talking about science. She jumped to the financial responsibility. She moved the goalpost. So that means she's trying to get technical. Money is a financial shit. That is not a feeling thing. That's just is. You put a dollar bill on the table. The dollar bill don't feel shit. It's a piece of paper. What you do with that dollar bill can affect you. You're hungry, you go buy a roll. You're thirsty, you go buy some kind of drink for $1 if there are any around. Money is used to help you. But you can't help yourself? Wow.
This will be my last.
I hate that discussion. I hate that perspective. If you guys don't know, my father grew up in foster care. His parents didn't really raise him, and I was actually born prematurely. So, if my parents or my grandparents had your perspective, the whole family line would just be gone. It would not exist. Just because you can't afford to raise a kid, why is the best alternative to that killing the kid or a
Exactly. And if you can't afford a kid, right, because kids will cost you thousands of dollars, why can't you afford $6 a month for birth control? Oh, well, it's more than that. You got to go to the doctor to get the prescription. No, nowadays you get prescriptions renewed right over the phone. And you're supposed to go get a yearly checkup. A lot of people make the choice not to go for the yearly checkups. I don't have to. I feel good. So again, you're making a choice for your body that may not be the best choice for it. And we're all guilty of that. But no one wants to take responsibility. And I understand there are cases where it's honestly not your fault. But this kind of situation, there's accountability and responsibility to go around. And since we're the women who get pregnant, just like when we try to protect ourselves taking a self defense class, maybe we should take classes on contraception.
aborting it? I don't. You know, that's just not. That's crazy. There are way more options other than aborting the kid if you
Yep.
can't afford to raise it. I would say that's kind of selfish
Yep.
because you can't afford a house. You're just going to be like, all right, forget this kid and just not even put it up.
How many times did me and my husband get to the point of our money wasn't going to handle the bills and we could have lost our home? Should we have just said, well, look, the kid's 10 years old. We're having a hard time paying rent. Let's abort him. Oh no, we made the choice to have him. Now he's 10. You made the choice to have sex and got pregnant. It is the same basic thing. You make a choice. But if the choice doesn't work out in your favor, you want to be given a whole bunch of other options to choose from. And even when you have that, you go for the worst one.
It up for adoption. You're just gonna abort it. And I'm only talking about this reasoning because you brought up this reasoning. I didn't make this up. You said it. This is your reasoning for supporting it. I'm like, it's because you're broke. You don't got any money or a house. That's insane. My parents had my
You can't afford a child. You make sure you can afford the protection not to have a child on both sides of the fence, men and women. But since women are the ones who decide what is allowed and not allowed in their own bodies, they have the right to say no. You have that right and that responsibility. Life is a privilege. And we fuck around with our own lives a lot. Why are we fucking around with unborn kids who didn't even have a choice in whether or not they were conceived?
My older sister, when they were 17, 18 years old, they didn't have a house. They weren't married at that time. If they had your perspective, you're probably older than they were at the time. That she would be done. She would be cooked. That's crazy.
Question. I want you to think about it. If a single mom has two 2-year-olds, twins, and she wakes up one day and says, I can't do it anymore. I can't give them the life they deserve.
But that's just not the circumstance.
Hold on. Should she be able to take out a shotgun and kill both those kids?
No.
Of course it's not, because you think that would be objectionable.
Yep.
That's why I think it's objectionable to eliminate 2 babies that are 6 weeks old,
Yep.
because they're morally the same thing.
Yes.
One just happens to be bigger. One just happens to be
Yep.
older. One just happens to be outside of the womb. They're both human beings. And you have something in you that says, no way is it okay to kill a 2-year-old. That's called your soul talking. What I'm trying to do is connect reason and your soul and have that same sort of objection no when you see on an ultrasound.
I just believe you're looking at this more emotionally than scientifically.
Scientifically, and look, she thinks she had a drop the mic moment. Scientifically, if you're taking precautions, that's way less of a chance for you to get knocked up. And the biggest precaution that is 100% reliable is abstinence. But you don't take responsibility for that, do you?
That, again, you can believe that. I actually am looking at it incredibly reasonably, because I can tell you to down to the minute when human life begins. You kind of give me a range. Your life began not at birth, but at conception, about
Yes.
9 months before
That's
you
your
were.
opinion.
Well, it's actually science.
No, it's not. It's science. How do you grow if you're not conceived? Even ideas. How can ideas come? They have to be conceived. And she thinks she's so smart. She's actually stupid.
You know why? This is your eye color, your skin color, your tastes, your wants, your desires, your interests, introverted or extroverted, whether or not you're going to be tall or short, it all got decided in that moment. You know why? Your DNA was formed.
Well,
And with that, what is your marker as a human being? As we map the human genome, we realize everything about you. Whether or not you have a predisposed, skinny, it's all in deoxyribonucleic.
correct.
And DNA does not start in 6 weeks or 8 weeks or 10 weeks or 20 weeks. It starts at conception.
Yeah, well, there you have it. I'm not really an expert on this topic. I'm not. But he makes sense to me. Let me know if you guys disagree or agree with him. My name is
I'm not an expert either, but I am a woman. We have to start accepting accountability and taking responsibility for our own bodies, and we're not. If we can easily just go, oh, well, oh, you know, this just isn't right. And women will continue to do this and act like they're perfectly fine. They're just in whatever they believe, whatever they want, whatever they this, whatever they that. No. With the good stuff, be some bad. There might be things that come out of the good stuff that you're not ready for. You know what? Be as ready as you can be. And this isn't a surprise to anyone. If the dick goes in the twat, a pregnancy can happen. A disease can be transmitted. These are our bodies, ladies. We are the ones who are ultimately responsible for everything that happens to them. And for the things we are honestly not responsible for, we are responsible for afterwards because we still have to take care of our bodies. Just because one thing happens doesn't mean we stop and say, you know what? I can still do the same shit I did that got me to that position in the first place, and somebody else better make sure I'm not the one in trouble. I'm not the one who's getting hurt. I'm not this, I'm not that. It always has to be put off on somebody else. And it's just not right.